Did you know that you can speak with your own unconscious mind by playing with a pendulum? Want to know how? Stick around, find out how. Live, trance, and prosper. Hi, I'm Dr. David Phillips, and this is my pendulum. It's actually one of many pendulums I own. I collect them. But this particular one is going to help me teach you how to converse with your own unconscious mind. That's right, with a pendulum, which is essentially any heavy weight on a string, you can talk to yourself. And not just random talking to yourself like you do in the bathroom when you're shaving or brushing your teeth in the morning. Oh, if I ever see you again, I'm gonna do that. No, not the ramblings of a madman, but the actual speech to your hidden mind. Well, okay, maybe not with the crazy mad scientist laugh, but yes, you can actually speak to your own unconscious mind with a pendulum. Now, I know some of you are already familiar with pendulums. You see them in New Age shows and things like that. Some folks believe that they can speak to spirits with a pendulum. Some use pendulums to talk to aliens. And some use pendulums for, I don't know what they're using them for, but what we're going to learn is a genuine psychological principle known as ideomotor effect. And that's essentially this. Ideo, idea. Motor, movement. The idea moves it. A ideomotor effect is when your unconscious mind uses muscles that you're not consciously aware of in order to move something. I'll give you an example. If I hold my pendulum up and if I just imagine it moving, it begins moving. Now, I'm not actually consciously moving this pendulum. It's just moving on its own, or seems to be moving on its own. Actually, what's happening is, and I've done this for many years, so I'm pretty good at it. Now we're whipping around pretty good. Nice pendulum. What's happening is my unconscious mind is moving the pendulum with muscles that I'm not aware of. I know that I'm doing it. My unconscious enjoys doing it, evidently, but I'm not consciously aware. Now you can, in this video, if you get it up there in high quality, you probably can see that my hand is moving, but I'm not consciously aware of it. It just seems to be moving by itself. Some folks mistakenly believe that that's spirits, ghosts, the gods, or aliens, or some other force moving it. But actually, it's just my unconscious mind. Just my unconscious mind. As if to diminish it. My unconscious mind is awesome. Thanks, dude. You're welcome. So, how can you speak to your unconscious mind? Now, those of you already familiar with my web pages, hello webpage address, you already know that if you go to the left sidebar on my web page, there's a little icon that has the image of what I call an auto-questioning answer card. And this auto-questioning answer card is for use with a pendulum. Now, usually I would hold this in front of me like so and hold my pendulum over it so that I can ask questions. First, you need to calibrate. Now, some folks can flip these around and their unconscious moves the pendulum real quick, real easy. No problemo. Some folks, well, they need practice. You've got to relax your mind. You don't have to empty it. I know some folks have a head start on that, but you just relax your mind and allow it to happen. You also need to expect it to happen and have what we call intensified imaginative involvement so that the pendulum works with you for you. Now these answer cards that I have, they're for yes/no questions. All right, and if you go to my website, you can download a PDF just for you, and that you can do that. Some of you are my clients, students, or friends, or enemies, or just random strangers I know, and you have one of these along with a pendulum that perhaps I gave you as a gift. On the other side of my pendulum answer card is, of course, my business information. Is my business card, but you can make your own. Use the PDF that I will provide for you. This is not the only pattern you can use for this sort of thing. It's just the pattern that I tend to use, and it's very easy and simple for calibration. I've been doing this for a lot of years, so I don't actually need my card anymore. I'm already pre-calibrated. But if you're not pre-calibrated, you can do this. Hold your pendulum, which is, it can be a very pretty one like this, which I spent a massive 100 NT, or about US $4 on. Or it can be an expensive one. I've got some very nice crystal ones. I've got a gold one. That was a very lovely gift from a student in India. I have lots of pendulums, meteorites. You don't have to do that. You can use your keychain. You can use a puppy. Don't use a puppy. It's really, you hold them by the tail and they don't seem to enjoy that. Use a cat. Don't use a cat. You're going to get scratched. So those are jokes, by the way. Don't tell my wife I made a joke about holding a cat's tail. She tends not to like that joke. I wonder why. But you can use any inanimate object you like. Okay? That's on a string. And so a heavy weight on a rope, string, yarn, or chain, and it just holds there. You can use your necklace or medallion if you like, if you've got a nice one that's a heavy weight. It needs to have some girth to it, so it'll do that. And then hold that sucker over your pendulum answer card. Now I'm just going to calibrate here, even though I don't need to, because I've already pre-calibrated, but I just want to show you the process, okay? You can go ahead and pause the video real quick and get yourself a pendulum and an answer card, or just watch things. You can just draw that symbol on a sheet of paper if that's all you want to do. But let's you watch the whole video and then go out and do it. And go to my website and you can get the pattern. There's also a video on my website, free for you and anyone else who happens to look at the page, that actually has me going through the process, teaching a young woman how to use the pendulum, so you can see how someone who's never used one before responds and goes through the process. But let's get back to me. Me. It's all about me today, and how I can help you learn how to communicate with your own unconscious mind. So, I hold this sucker over my pendulum answer card. I know it's upside down, but that's so I can see it too. Okay. I hold that sucker over my pendulum answer card, just over the middle, and then I just tell myself to think of the word yes. So I ask myself to think of yes and imagine the pendulum moving up and down in the yes direction. Up and down in the yes direction. Now, I know this isn't 3D, so you don't get the depth that you would get if I had the 3D on, but you can see that the pendulum is indeed moving up and down. That's my calibration for yes. Then I ask it to go into what's called the ready or maybe position, which is a diagonal. After I've done that, I now ask myself to think of the word no, and going left to right. And now we're going left to right. Once again, it's a 2D image, so you don't see the depth, but it is going left to right. And there's that. Go back to the ready position. which is also the maybe direction. Now, why do I always go back to ready or maybe? Between questions, you want to do that so you're clear on your responses and you don't muddy things. So don't just jump from one question to another. Always go back to that ready position. Now, for this pendulum answer card, there are other directions as well. We have a circle that is clockwise, and that is which direction is that on that? That's RQ, or rephrase the question. And I also have an anti-clockwise direction, a switching direction now, which is of course the NA, or no answer. And I've got one more direction up here, which is a diagonal to the left, DWA, don't want to answer. That's for when your unconscious mind is simply saying, screw you, I'm not telling you that crap. Because for different reasons. Maybe your conscious mind isn't ready for the information, or your unconscious is playing tricks on you. Sometimes it does that. Alrighty, so let's go back to the maybe position. I've calibrated my directions, and you can too with your pendulum. And now I can ask some questions I already know the answer to. For instance, do I have a handsome son? No. Okay. But that could mean I have an ugly son, right? So go back to maybe, and I rephrase my question. Do I have a son? And it goes right to no. All right. So I don't have a son as far as I know. Key words. As far as I know. You can only ask questions of your unconscious. The answers are only going to be as far as you know. This is not a conduit into the Akashic records or all-seeing, all-knowing, magical la-la land. This is as far as your unconscious is aware. So lottery numbers, forget it. Questions about your life. In English, we have an expression. I'm of two minds about that. And it's true. Sometimes people want one thing, but unconsciously they want something else. And a pendulum with an answer card with auto-questioning, self-questioning, can really help you figure things out. All right, let's get back to some questions. Am I over the age of 57? And my pendulum is saying no. And I know some of my viewers are saying, nah, you're lying now. Let's check again. Am I over the age of 50? And now we get a very fast, very yes response. Go back to maybe. Let's ask another question. Do I have a beautiful daughter? And my pendulum immediately says yes. Well, she's beautiful in my eyes. Well, she is beautiful. I do have a daughter, and she is indeed beautiful. Alrighty, go back to maybe. Then you can start asking questions maybe you don't know the answer to. Am I gay? And my pendulum says no. My pendulum says I'm not gay. My pendulum is correct. I'm not gay. I'm friendly to gay and lesbian issues, of course, LGBT, but I'm not personally gay, despite what idiots on Facebook seem to think that because a man supports gay marriage, he must be gay. No, I also support legalization of marijuana, and I've never smoked any. Seriously. So you can support one thing and not be that thing. Let's ask another question. This is getting interesting. Do I love my wife? Why, that was very quick, Mr. Pendulum Man. The pendulum says yes. I do love my wife. Thank you, pendulum. I can sleep soundly tonight without fear of seriously, folks, I'm not an idiot. If I didn't know the pendulum was going to say yes on that, there's no way I would ask that question on video or in live classes. I've done that in front of 1,000 people, and it always says yes. And I'm glad of that, and I do indeed feel that. So I'm happy. I hope my wife is happy about that, but it's just there. So you can go ahead and get yourself a pendulum answer card. Go to that web page, my web page, URL down there, left sidebar, look for the image that looks like the pendulum answer card, and just download that sucker. Watch the video on that site as well. But that's how you talk to yourself with science. It's psychological science, folks. It's not hocus pocus. It's not magic. It's not trickery. It's just ideomotor movement. It's an automatism of your mind moving it, the pendulum, in a way that you may not be aware of it. Play around with it. Have some fun. There are other things we can do with pendulums. Check out my web pages. I do have products and free videos and audio files related to automatisms, ideomotor effects, and pendulums. So be sure to check all that out on my web pages. But mostly, just play with the thing. You know, get yourself an answer card and play with the pendulum. Because the pendulum goes left and right. Left and right. And of course, you can hypnotize yourself or other people with a pendulum. But that's a different video. Check that out on my YouTube channel or on my web pages and learn how to do that. I hope you found that helpful. Please be sure to click subscribe to the YouTube channel so that you can get notices when we have new videos. On Tuesdays, we have Hypno News and Community News and rants. Sometimes I just got a rant. On Wednesdays, well, that's tips, tricks, and questions where I answer your questions or I talk about different trance techniques or methods. Thursdays, that's a special day. That's trance time. That's when I guide you through an authentic trance experience. Be sure to check out my special comprehensive courses and my webpage. Click that subscribe, but most importantly, this is Dr. Brian David Phillips saying, live trance and prosper. Bye-bye.